This is it, Jennifer. Your big breaking key.
Some people are afraid of spiders, public speaking, maybe Freddy Krueger. There's even people scared to death of pickles.
Pickles are destroying my life.
And you're a waitress?
Yeah.
In a restaurant? Aren't there pickles around?
Yeah, but I'm nowhere near them.
You're nowhere near them?
No, I'm not, no.
What happens if somebody wants a pickle?
That's too bad.
That stuff doesn't scare me. In fact, just the other day, I ate a turkey sandwich with extra pickles while watching A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. And, coincidentally, at the same time, a spider walked across my TV. But I just yelled at it to move so I could finish watching Freddy murk someone. For me, I'm scared of things like the deep ocean or forgetting to take the trash cans out to the street for garbage day. Oh, and the topic of this Exploring Evil video, somebody like obsessive superfan Annie Wilkes.
I'm your #1 fan.
Annie Wilkes, portrayed brilliantly by Kathy Bates, is undoubtedly one of the most iconic characters in the realm of psychological horror. In the 1990 Stephen King movie adaptation Misery, she takes center stage as an avid supporter, I guess you could say, of author Paul Sheldon's Victorian-era romance novels that revolve around a character named Misery Chastain.
I know that, Mr. Man!
Paul's on his way home from Silver Creek, Colorado to New York City when his car crashes. Lucky for him, or unlucky, Annie rescues him and nurses him back to health. Now, for anyone who hasn't read the book or watched the movie, you're probably thinking, wow, that was really nice of her. But then, bam! Next thing you know, Paul finds out the hard way the grass is definitely not greener on the other side of a car accident.
Trust me,
God's sake.
it's for the best.
Annie, please!
That's some cold shit.
She holds him captive, and it's basically because he wants to see other people. But still, what drives Annie to such extremes? First and foremost, let's talk about the nature of Annie's fandom, because she's clearly not your average fiction reader enthusiast. Her obsession goes well beyond attending book signings or chatting on Discord. Not that Discord was around back then, but you get my point. The fictional character of Misery Chastain means so much to her. Annie's fixation on Misery is more than just admiration, it's a form of escapism. She finds solace in this fictional world created by Paul Sheldon, where misery is a constant and unchanging presence. This points to a deeper psychological need for stability and control in Annie's troubled life. Throughout the film, we learn that Annie is a very isolated individual, and this sort of isolation from people lends itself to loneliness. As humans, we're social creatures. Even if we don't like talking to others on a regular basis, it's still an important component of our lives. Living in a remote house, cut off from society, she seeks companionship in the only way she knows how, through the pages of Paul Sheldon's novels. Misery becomes her friend, confidant, and in a twisted sense, her savior from the solitude that haunts her. Annie's loneliness and love for Misery drives her to form a parasocial relationship with Paul, where she believes she has a personal connection with him through his writing.
I love you, Paul. Your mind, your creativity. That's all I meant.
Although a bit unhealthy at first, her role as a fan doesn't necessarily become something more sinister until she decides to rescue Paul, quote unquote, from the car accident and take him to her remote cabin. The power dynamic in their relationship becomes a key element in understanding her motivation too. See, when Paul tries to deviate from Misery in his latest book, Annie's sense of control and connection begins to crumble, triggering her descent into madness.
And don't even think about anybody coming for you. Not the doctors, not your agent, not your family, because I never called them. Nobody knows you're here.
Annie's need for control is palpable throughout the film. By holding Paul captive, she not only retains control over him physically, but also manipulates him emotionally and creatively. These extreme measures that Annie goes to serve as a manifestation of her desperation to keep the fictional world of Misery within her grasp.
Misery Chastain cannot be dead.
Before I get to my conclusion, something to note. The film's tension wouldn't work without great chemistry between the two actors that we see on screen, and we get that with Kathy Bates and James Caan. Their ability to interact convincingly with each other contributes significantly to the success of their performances. Bates was so committed to her role, she paid very close attention to details from the source material. Because of this, she transformed herself to embody Annie Wilkes through her hairstyle and mannerisms. But more than appearance, Bates navigates the character's layers of vulnerability, obsession, and instability with such believable and nuanced delivery, it earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress.
I would like to thank Jimmy Caan and apologize publicly for the ankles.
Like I hinted at in the beginning of this video, horror icons like the Freddys and Jasons don't scare me because I know they're just as fictional as the character of Misery Chastain. Ironically, what makes Annie Wilkes so unsettling though is the notion that she could be a real person. There's already been cases of crazed fans who have done terrible things to celebrities, from stalking to going as far as murder, perhaps the most infamous of which was the case of Mark David Chapman, the man who shot and killed John Lennon in 1980.
Witnesses told police Lennon was shot near the door to his apartment building as he and Yoko Ono returned from a recording studio.
In the end, Annie Wilkes is a complex character driven by a unique blend of fandom, loneliness, and a need for control. And even though she was created by Stephen King, she's a prime example that reality can be more terrifying than fiction. If you guys enjoyed this episode of Exploring Evil, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into your favorite evil characters and other horror-related content. Also, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are about this movie and Annie Wilkes. Until next time, peace.